Good evening, everyone. My name is Yogesh. Welcome to World Investor Education Week, day 4. Today, we are going to learn about technical analysis, and I'm really glad to see each and everyone who was here on day 1 is continuing to day 4 as well. This is something which is really really wonderful. Thank you so much for coming day on day and being a part of this wonderful awareness session. Today, we are going to discuss about technical analysis. And before we proceed, I want to make sure that everybody can hear my voice and see what I have on my slide. So, if you can hear me, please give me a yes or okay so I can proceed further. If you can hear me clearly. Okay, great, perfect, perfect. Again, as I said, at any point of time, if you have to leave, or sometimes the network congestion happens, sometimes uh, uh, the voice breaks off. Don't worry about it. You can always book a one-on-one session, and I can have sessions on Zoom where we can discuss more about what we are discussing day on day and dive much deeper into the concepts of financial markets and fundamentals. Today, we are going to talk about technical analysis and charts. Once again, there are a few questions which I would like to answer, especially these are the questions which were asked yesterday. Since they are asked again, I'll just answer them again. Uh, Questions related to how to open an account and how to put money into the account. Opening account is very very easy, and you just have to sign a form online. Your relationship manager will help you out. A few documents related to your passport copy, your visa, and a bank statement, and account will be open once the documents are approved. How to redeem money from the trading account? You can use the platform itself and withdraw the funds. Century does not play any role in or in the withdrawals. You can directly log onto the platform. You register your bank details, and you can withdraw the funds as well. Third question: shares remain in the dashboard is safe or not? Uh, Shares remaining in the dashboard. So since these are derivatives, even let's say, for example, if somebody hacks into your trading account, they cannot transfer these shares into their trading accounts because these are not the real stocks where you get the custody of, right? These are derivatives. So basically, the answer to your question is yes, that even if somebody hacks into your trading account, they cannot transfer these shares. How soon the account will get open? Account opening takes 2 to 3 days, maximum 2 days. The account number comes in, depending also on if all your documents are approved and clear. Then it barely takes any time. How many time of account is there? One is savings account, another is trading account. Both are linked. So this is a very important question, friends. I would like to answer this a bit in detail. The question is, how many types of accounts are there? One is savings account, another is trading account. Both are linked or not? In India and rest of the many parts of the world, the demat account or the trading account is linked to your bank account. And when I say linked to your bank account, which means when you are trading, and if there's more margin requirement, normally the bank account is debited automatically. But in this type of arrangement, what we are talking about, the trading account is only linked to your bank account when you have to withdraw the funds. Okay, nobody can take funds unless you do a transfer online or use your credit card or debit card or anything. So your bank account will be linked to your trading account only on the matter of withdrawals and nothing else. So you just have to open one trading account. You have to submit your bank statement so that we can register a withdrawal destination for your funds. So tomorrow, when you're withdrawing funds, the funds have to reach to your bank account. So for that, you need to show a bank statement once so the details can be stored. Can you explain once again top 5 economic news events? And the news is applicable to all the exchange. Now, today is about technical analysis. I'll be glad to once again go over to the fundamental news and events, but let's try to cover technical analysis today. And I promise you to have a one-on-one session where I can not only tell you five economic events or fundamental events, in fact, throw some more light in detail, right? Let's carry on with a day-on-day topic, and definitely please talk to your relationship manager, and I'll definitely have a one-on-one session with you, and will definitely explain you once again how the events go. A question related to earnings announcement. I saw there were a lot of companies that announced earnings yesterday. How to shortlist the best ones from the lot? Again, a very good question. So, one thing is your financial consultant can help you here. Century Financial, we provide a lot of market consultants to every client, and they actually stress on, because there are a lot of companies which are coming up with the earnings, which are the important ones. Now, obviously, today, if I am like yesterday, for example, when I was looking at the earnings calendar, I saw Johnson and Johnson, I saw Netflix, I saw a couple of more. These are important. Like for example, when you talk about the financial sector, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Bank of America, these, Morgan Stanley, these are few companies which are really important when earnings comes in. Goldman Sachs, Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, Intel, IBM, Caterpillar, at least the blue chips are really important in this. And then comes the tech sector. Zoom, Tesla. Tesla has its earnings on 26th April, so expect a heavy movement. Some pharma companies like Biogen, Pfizer, for example. So yes, there is a whole list of companies which gives a really big movement. And as I promised you, tomorrow, because tomorrow is live trading and strategies and portfolios. Tomorrow it's all about where to invest, what to do. Tomorrow I'm going to show you earnings strategy, how you trade in the earnings season. Okay, I have a flyer for it. We are doing these flyers every day called price action analysis. It's great flyers, and I'll show you tomorrow that how you can trade in earnings analysis and how you can manage your risk. So yeah, you can shortlist the best ones from the lot. First of all, on the basis of their market cap. Bigger the companies, like Microsoft is a $1 trillion company, Amazon is a $1 trillion company, Apple is a $1 trillion company. So obviously, when their earnings come, you have to take that into consideration. Can I invest in bonds and stocks simultaneously in case if I have total equity of $10,000? Stocks you can, bonds, because bonds normally are not provided in derivative based platforms. You have to go to exchange based platforms like we have with Interactive Brokers. Uh, you can buy bonds from that particular platform, but because it's an exchange based platform, the minimum lot size of bonds is at least $100,000, $200,000. These are lot sizes determined by exchange. So whether you do it with a bank which is providing an exchange based platform, or you directly do with the exchange based platform, bonds minimum lot is at least $100,000 is what I know of. So you can always try to check with the financial consultant, and that can guide you. But stocks, you can definitely invest $10,000 in whichever stocks you like to. Cryptos we can buy through this account, no need of any wallet. Yes, you can buy cryptocurrencies through this trading account, but please understand the difference between a Bitcoin CFD and actual Bitcoin, which you do through Coinbase and other exchanges. This particular platform gives you a derivative. What is a derivative? Is a derivative is a financial instrument which derives its value from the actual underlying asset. So a crypto exchange might show Bitcoin price, say $55,000. On platforms like what I have shown you since the day one, these platforms, they have their own virtual market. So the Bitcoin which you see there is replicating the price from the exchange, but this is not a Bitcoin which you can use to do a transaction for buying or selling. Okay, so yes, you can buy a crypto and you do not need a e-wallet, because this kind of account allows you to buy and sell, speculate, whatever you like to. So the answer to the question is yes, you can buy crypto and you do not need any wallet. But then the crypto which you buy over here is only for buying, selling, speculation purpose. You cannot transfer these bitcoins to do any transaction. While if you take a bitcoin in a wallet, you can use that Bitcoin to do a transaction later on. So that's the difference between two. Earnings announced, but stock fall due to bad earnings result. So yeah, that's kind of the point for looking the stock for the earnings season. So like yesterday, I think we were checking. I did not get the time to see Netflix stock. I think yesterday was. Oh, so Netflix, if you see, yesterday Netflix came up with the earnings and they have predicted the worst quarter for the streaming growth in H3. The stock has fallen down by 9%. See the live impact. I'll share the screen with you, which I am reading right now, and you will see what is the impact on this particular stock. So, and you will be amazed to see that when the earnings go up, these are the stocks which bounce like 50, $60. And today you will see how it works out when the earnings comes bad. Another question, hi Yogesh, which websites we can visit to check which commodities may go up or down? Uh, See, the best way to be updated about the, because whichever website you see, it will not give you the real time prices, like the movement. I would strongly suggest you, if you do not like my platform, then be any other platform, but be in a habit of having at least one platform in your phone, not the web version or the app. I have app for this particular platform. You can install that app and use a demo account. The moment you log into that, you will be able to see the prices of everything. All you have to do is create a watch list for yourself. So if you have, like for example, day two, we created a watch list, and I suggested everyone that have a demo account and create a watch list. So watch list will serve this particular purpose. You don't have to go to any website. Like, see, there are a lot of websites, Markets Watch, Investopedia, a lot of websites. But the point is that you will never get a real-time price movement, and you will never be able to have form a habit of uh, understanding these kind of platforms. So this is a very good start. While we are doing this day on day, please install the app, use your demo account, and create a watch list for yourself. So it becomes very easy for you to track prices of gold, platinum, palladium, wheat, everything at once. You won't be, even if you go on a website, you won't be able to create a watch list right away, right? So the platform gives you a great opportunity to do that. How long can I have my demo account active? Normally, the demo account expires in 10 to 15 days, but then you switch to another demo account. That's what you can do, because demo accounts are made temporary accounts. Normally, demo accounts are used by investors just to get familiar with the platform. In my entire career, I have never normally seen investors making a decision uh, of doing this or not using a demo account. They take demo accounts only to make themselves familiar with how to buy, sell, how to put a stop loss, how to create a watch list. And once they understand that, they switch to the live account. So normally these accounts have a life of 10 to 15 days. But then if you feel that you need to keep using it more and more, you can always get a fresh one and take another demo ID. Question is, I'm not able to find Ripple in cryptos because Ripple was taken away by there was a controversy from Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), by which the Ripple was removed from a lot of CFD providers. So that's why we used to have Ripple and then it was removed. So that is something which is going on with most of the brokers. Which website to refer to know about the stock market news and updates? I think you can always first of all, as I said, please send me your email addresses so we can send you newsletters and all the updates you will get. If you want to visit a separate website, I think investing.com, MarketsWatch, Bloomberg, these are three, four websites which is there. Can we expect in future? Ripple is something, unless SEC allows, it completely depends on Security and the Exchange Commission. That's the SEC, which is the regulator for US. So unless SEC allows, nothing can be expected at this point. Once everything is clear and we are, because that's happened with Cardano. We had to remove Cardano temporarily, and then things sorted out, and Cardano was put back into the platform. So this is the kind of risk which cryptos have when it comes to trading CFD in terms of cryptos. But then Bitcoin is something which has been traded for a long period of time. Ethereum, Litecoin, Monero, Stellar, all these currencies are there. You can always look into it. Ripple, we are still not sure of. If the things go better, then we can. Okay, I think perfect. I just sent one. email ID. I'm going to save this one. Let me just click a picture of this so I remember to send you everything. Perfect. Now, today we start with technical analysis and charts. Before I start, as I said, in last 3 4 days we have done. I mean, I'm sure this is very basic information I've been giving you from last 3 4 days. So, I mean, I don't know how much value I have created through these sessions, but whatever we have learned and whatever we are going to learn tomorrow, last day, please understand that every strategy, every portfolio has a market risk, and do not borrow money, do not take loan, do not take over leverage while you trade, because it can be really risky for your capital and for your portfolio. Consult your financial experts, and only then try to take these kind of risks. Please calculate your risk appetite. Just 1 second, I'm again getting more of email IDs. Yeah. So please take care of yourself and make sure that you understand the market risk before you get into this. There's one question: what kind of leverage we have for gold, silver on the platform? I think for gold, margin for retail clients is 5%, which means 20 times leverage. But if you qualify to be a professional client, then the leverage is around 200 times. So if you're a professional client, then 200 times. But if you're a retail client, then 20 times. Right. And I think same for silver. Silver, if you're a professional client, I think you get 100 times leverage. If you are a retail client, then again, 10 to 20 times. Technical analysis is the study of charts. Now, so many of you will be thinking that, okay, this is technical, the term technical itself, we don't know charts. This is something which the traders do and the analysts do, and how we can provide. It's nothing like that. First of all, if you don't know the charts or the technicals, it does not affect your investment. I mean, knowing it, it always helps you to take a decision, but not knowing investment is not your cup of tea. You can always have financial consultants by you, which can slowly and gradually tell you that why this particular call is taken and what is the rationale behind it. But today, when I'm going to tell you what technical analysis is and how easy it is and how basic it is, you will realize that why these kind of topics also exist. Technical analysis, as the word suggests, uh, this is we are talking about historic price movements, and one of the greatest versatile features of technical analysis is you can apply the technicals on any asset class as long as the asset type has a historical time series data. Now, when I say historical time series data, that means that if there is an asset class which has a history of price movements, like gold prices, every day you see a different price, right? It's been 5 years, 10 years, it's been 20, 25, 30, 40 years, 50 years of how gold prices have moved. So it has a historical time series data. Now, when I say time series data, we are talking about variables like the highest of the day, lowest of the day, how many volumes were created, what was the opening price, what was the closing price. Every day this kind of time series data is recorded. Now, I'll give you one example. Uh, think about, and this is UAE, so a lot of you will, agree with this. Think about when you learn how to drive a car. Like once you learn how to drive a car, you can actually drive any car, right? I mean, I'm giving you a very hypothetical example. I'm not saying that if you if you're driving Yaris, you know how to drive a Lamborghini. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you learn how to drive a car, literally, if there is any car, whether it's Ford or Volkswagen or General Motors or anything, you know literally how to drive any car. Similarly, when you learn technical analysis once, and once you understand how this is, once you know how you can apply this concept, you can apply this concept on equities, on commodities, on foreign exchange, on bonds, on anything you want to. Because once you understand what technicals is, you can apply it on any asset class, right? And this is probably one of the biggest advantages compared to other fields of study. Because, for example, if you're studying, and let's compare this with fundamentals also. What is fundamental analysis? Fundamental analysis means, yesterday I told you, learning about earning per share, revenue, profit and loss, balance sheet, etc. Right? So if you look at fundamental analysis, once you study profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow of a particular stock or a particular equity, that is, you can use that information for that particular company, right? Like for a stock, any stock, whether it is Netflix or Google or Tesla, you know your fundamentals, that if I'm reading its balance sheet, numbers cannot be wrong, so I'm going to take my decision. But when you are looking at commodities, the fundamental analysis of commodities, it is different. You don't have to read a balance sheet of gold. Now, gold is a commodity, right? What balance sheet you are going to read? What cash flow statement you're going to read? It's a commodity. It moves on political policies, economic policies, Brexits, pandemics. So their fundamentals are different. Currencies fundamentals are different. So fundamentals can be different for each asset class, but technical analysis remains same throughout every asset class. So that is one of the important advantages you get in technical analysis, right? If you're dealing with agricultural commodity, coffee, or wheat or sugar, then your fundamental analysis are not about cash flow. It is more about demand, supply, rainfall, harvesting season is when, right? Now, uh, there are a lot of assumptions which happens in technical analysis. So for example, there are three assumptions which technical analysis have. One is the history tends to repeat itself, which means when the price, whatever is the price, it tends to repeat itself, because market participants like you as an investor, you will consistently react to the price movements in a very similar way. This is what the assumption is. Okay. Like for example, if the markets are trending up, most of the investors, they get greedy and they want to buy irrespective of the high price. Likewise, when you see the markets are going down, a lot of investors, no matter how great the opportunity is to buy, maybe they will keep selling so much even at the lower prices. So this is something which is an assumption that history always tends to repeat itself. Now, second is the price moves in trends, which means when you are looking at a chart, I have shown you few charts of commodities and currencies and some stocks as well. Uh, Either it can be a uptrend, can be a downtrend, or can be a sideways trend. But the price will always move in trend. This is what the assumption is. I have a question here. A financial guy can understand fundamental and technical as compared to other discipline guys. Is it true? It's absolutely not. Anybody who says that, it is absolutely not true. Understanding fundamentals or technicals, this is not only restricted to a guy from the financial industry. Okay. You don't have to be a CFA or a chartered holder to get into this. Yes, if you're handling portfolios for clients, if you're working with a hedge fund, if you're working with a regulated company, then there are some regulations which you have to follow. Like, for example, if I am handling somebody's portfolio, then I need to have a certain amount of certification in understanding this. But that doesn't mean that I am more qualified than you. And let me phrase it in a way where it doesn't sound ambiguous, because now the next question will be, what is the difference between me teaching you this and you doing it yourself, right? I have seen people putting money, giving money to institutions, to academies, to learn something what is already available in Google. Why do you think I'm not charging for these sessions? The point is, there is no assurance or guarantee of how markets are going to react. This business is 80% or 90% your patience, determination, and courage. 10% is what the market surprises you. If you are courageous enough and determined enough and disciplined enough to understand this thing, then you are as brilliant as any other financial advisor can be. As far as the fundamentals are concerned, if you take some time out and try to understand that what the manufacturing data does, why central bank meetings are important, why central bank's press conferences are important, what should you do in earnings, how you should trade the earning season, what is the earning per share, what is revenue, how do you compare earning per share revenue. It's a no brainer. It's not something which only a financial guy can understand. If you put your minds into it, it will hardly take a week or so for you to understand this thing. More practice is needed. That is true. Discipline and practice. You can put discipline and practice, regularity. Today, if you have, from day one, I have been telling everyone that you take your demo accounts and create a watch list. If you have done that, then you can easily, by now, you can easily understand a lot of things, because if you're tracking prices every day, then you have an anchor formed in your mind. Tell me, what was the price of gold, lowest price of gold day before yesterday? You'll be surprised what price can do. What was the lowest of price of gold day before yesterday? If you know the answer to this, then you have already surprised yourself. And if it is coming into your mind, write this using your chat option. What was the lowest price of gold day before yesterday? Perfect. 1772, 1764, 1772, 1772. How do you don't even track gold every day, then how do you know 1772? Because day before yesterday I asked you, then yesterday I asked you, now today I'm asking you. If tomorrow also I ask that, tell me what was the lowest price of gold 2 days before, you will like 1772. How do you know it? How do you remember the lowest price of gold which was 2 days? If I ask you yesterday, you might not remember, because I did not ask to you yesterday that was the lowest price of gold today. But imagine doing this for yourself every day. By line, pick your 5 6 instruments where you can see the lowest, highest, opening, close, 5 6 different time zones. As I said, wake up in the morning, then look at the 11 a.m., then look around 1 p.m., then look around 4:30 p.m., 5:30 p.m., and before you sleep at 12. Imagine how much information you will have about a particular. Now tell me, if I keep asking you every day that what is the lowest in gold, what is the lowest in gold, what is the lowest in gold, your brain will form a price anchor that gold is mostly down 1772, 1768, 1772, 1768. So tomorrow when gold prices break 1760 and it goes to 1758, you will know that now there is no point of buying, because it has broken the all the lows which we have seen in last 10 days, which means going down. That is what the brain does. This is what anchoring does to your brain. That's why I have kept telling you that you form a watch list. You don't have to pay a single penny to learn or understand these things. This is more practice, nothing else, right? um, Third thing, market discounts everything. Now this is a very important assumption, that market discounts everything. It means, take like for example, there could be a insider buying the company's stock in a large quantity in anticipation. Uh, let's say I work in Tesla, and since I work in Tesla, I would know that the quarter is going to be great. So what I will do as an insider, I will start buying a tremendous quantity of the stock. Now, even if I'm doing this secretly, the price will react to that particular action, revealing to the technical analyst that this could be a good buy, right? So the point is, when a technical analyst is looking at the chart, he's looking at a price which discounts. And again, this is an assumption. So people say that when you're looking at technical charts, when you're looking at charts and graphs, you should not consider pandemic, elections, Brexit referendums, or what's going on, because those are fundamentals. Be away from fundamentals if you're looking at technicals. If your decision is technical, then look at the only charts and only believe the charts. Don't believe the fundamentals, right? Now, starting next, I have shown you so many charts with green and red candlesticks, right? What does green and red candlesticks actually mean? Because this is more important than anything else. I have been showing you so many charts over here, and you can click a picture of this, please. If you have a notebook for yourself right now. You must have understood the why encourage you to write every day, because it increases your retention. Please, if you want, make a candle and write red candle and green candle, and I'll tell you how does it work. Why does it called a candlestick? Because candlestick, every candle you see, there is a thread on the upside, right? It's a candle. Similarly, this particular candle, it is these are used to denote the price movement of a financial instrument, whether it's a stock or a bond or a currency, crypto, anything. When you see this candlestick on the chart, it is showing you the price movement for a certain duration. Don't get confused between traditional, modern, traditional, model. Traditional are black and white candles. Modern days, the platforms are using red and green candles. That's it. Please do not get confused between what is traditional and what is modern. Both the candles have the same anatomy. The thread which you see, and I'm going to switch this to the live platform, and I'll show you live on the chart. How does it look like? Firstly, if you can see my account value today, it's 100,000. This is the same demo which we have been using. I think our gold stop loss must have gone hit, or let me see, account executed execution blotter. Yeah, see, I put a stop loss, it got executed yesterday, so I lost money in there right here. But if you see my other two trades, I took a short selling trade in Bitcoin and in German index. Oh, sorry, I put a trailing stop loss which got hit yesterday. So I have booked a profit of $560 right here. My other trade in Bitcoin I closed last time 600. But look at this. I bought my trailing stop loss in gold got hit at 1780, right? And look at gold price today. What is the gold price today? 1787. The lowest you remember is 1772, 1764. Today the gold price is 1787, right? So profit booked in there. And see the other two instruments, Bitcoin and German index. Now, if you remember, I short sell Bitcoin yesterday. Look at the buying price right now. I sold at a price 55,858. Right now the buying price is 55,350. So one coin, almost a difference of $500. I'm making a $500 profit right now. It's in green. I short sell one German index. What price? 15,230 euros. Today the buying price of German is 15,090, which means almost down by 100 euros, which is $160 or something. Now, this is important, guys. 230 euros. So it is almost down by 160 euros, right? Now, that means over here, not 160, less than 160. But what I'm trying to tell you is here, I short sell at 15,230. Right now, it is 15,084. So I'm having a profit right now. It will continue to fluctuate. Look at my account value. I started my account with $100,000. I booked some losses, booked some profits, and now it's 100,400 and it's moving. So basically, the idea is that whatever is your account value, that is the real value of your investment. Today, if I close all my trades, I will have $100,400 in my account. Question: why renewable energy basket is falling as no news in the market? We'll definitely go through the market movements also. Let's continue with the charts and try to understand this. A few things which we have to do before we end the session is look at what was the impact of the earnings on Netflix yesterday, since we were tracking it, and we can look into what we are going to do tomorrow as well. How much rollover charges are applied to the open position? Holding cost, you mean to say? Holding cost, will we can definitely send you an email. That will be much more clearer over here. Guys, any questions regarding the cost and charges? Let's have a one-on-one session where we can send you emails and explain it to you properly, how it will be done. Okay, great. Once again, now let me open the chart. I'm opening the chart of the German index, for example, or let's take gold, because we have done examples of gold. Okay. Now let's try to understand I'm zooming in. So now you can see, when I zoom in, you can see that this is a candlestick, right? Now, what this candlestick denotes, you can see there are so many candlesticks right here. So many candlesticks, one, two, three, four, five, six. Why so many of them? Reason is, look at the top left corner. If you have your demos, you can log in the demos and do the charts with me, or I'll just zoom this in for you so you can see what I want to show. Look at these time frames: 15 minutes, 5 hours, 15 minutes, 5 hours. Now, when I say 15 minutes, 5 hours, which means throughout the 5 hours, I show you how price has moved every 15 minutes through last 5 hours. Every 15 minutes, how the prices have moved. So if you see this candle right now, the green candle, it shows from 4 o'clock to 4:15 how the price was, right? Or 4:15 to 4:30. Sorry, this candle shows right here. Let me use the cursor. This candle right here shows the price of gold between 4:15 to 4:30. This particular candle right here, which is moving right now, is showing you the price of gold from 4:30 to 4:45. Now 4:45 means in the next 3 minutes this candle will close and another candle will open from 4:45 to 5 o'clock. So every 15 minutes this shows you how the gold prices have moved. Now please see this very carefully. When I'm looking at this chart, first of all, when I'm looking at these candles, what these candles represent, look at the very top thread of this chart right here. And when I say thread, it's that thin line. Okay. This is the highest between 4:15 to 4:30. Highest in those 15 minutes gold prices have reached. This, the bottom thread right here, if you can see, this is the lowest what gold has reached between 4:15 to 4:30 in 15 minutes. Now I'm going to give you a hint. When I place my cursor on any candle, if you see on this side, opening, highest, lowest, closing. Okay. Tell me, between 3 to 3:15, between 3 to 3:15, what was the highest of gold today? Today is 21st April. Between 3 to 3:15, what was the highest? You can see this information right on the chart. What was the highest and what was the lowest between 3 to 3:15 for gold? Keep writing, guys. Keep writing. I'm getting a lot of responses. That's really good. You are able to understand this. 1 second, right here. Between 3 to 3:15, what was the highest and what was the lowest of gold? Okay. I moved my cursor, but then I hope you understand the fact that the answer to the question is the highest is 1783, lowest is 1780. How do I know? Look at the left side where it is written OHLC, which means the opening, the highest, the lowest, and the closing right here. Highest is 1783, lowest is 1780. If I move this candle and go this, see, between 4:15 to 4:30, the highest and the lowest changes, because for that time interval is where it is going, right? So now you understand when you are looking at a chart how you see the highest and the lowest. Once again, guys, whenever you move your cursor to that particular chart, you'll be able to see the highest and the lowest opening and the closing. Now, again, most important thing, why this is red and green? Because I can see one candle which is the one which is 415, like for example, if I look at this candle 4 to 415, this is green. What does this represent? Because this is this red candle is higher than the green candle, but then still is forming red. Similarly, this red candle is lower than this green candle. So we don't know that what is the reason why it is green or red, right? Now, why this is green or red, how it works out is every candle has, as you saw, a highest, lowest, opening, and the closing. What does closing price means? Closing price means that if a candle is dedicated for 15 minutes, 4 to 415, 415 to 430. So 4 to 415, 415, the closing price of the candle will be recorded, and a next candle will start between 415 to 430, right? So the opening price of 415 to 430 can be different. Closing price of 430 candle will be different. And then see 445, another candle started every 15 minutes. So this candle closed at 1786 and this candle opened at 1786. Similarly, this candle closed at 1785. This candle opened at 1786. When the closing price of the previous candle is higher, or sorry, when the closing price of your current candle is higher than the previous candle, it becomes green. When the closing price of your current candle is lower than your previous candle closing, that it becomes red. So the red and green concept, so that somebody asked the question, does the top of the candle represent opening? Top of the candle does not represent the opening. The top thread represents the highest of that particular time period, the top thread. The top base or the lower base of the candle, which is, let me show you the presentation here, it will be more clear. See, the thread which you see, and don't focus on all four candles right now. For me, just look at the green candle. Okay, everybody, just look at the green candle. Don't look at any other candle. Green candle, the top thread of that candle shows the highest. Take the duration as 15 minutes, since we have seen a 15 minutes chart. That for 15 minutes, how high the gold would go, how high the gold did go. Now, when you see the lowest of the thread, this shows the lowest in 15 minutes, right? Now, the bottom base and the top base, it could very well be the opening or the closing of the candle. It depends on where the price ended, right? Now, if the price ended on the higher side, then that becomes the closing. If, like for example, now you see the green candle, it opened at the bottom and then price went up, and then 15 minutes passed and then it closed. Now, similarly, look at the red candle. For red candle, it opened upside, but then by the time the price closed, it went down. So the closing is on the downside. That being said, if the closing price of this candle is lower than the green candle, what does it show? It shows that the prices for this 15 minutes have been lower as compared to the previous 15 minutes. So this is guys, again, more and more practice. Mainly you should know that green candlestick represents a upside in the prices which has happened, and that's why it is green. A red candlestick shows a lower closing price for that particular time period, which it simply means that if the current candle is red, which means previous 15 minutes, the prices which were there previous 15 minutes, the current price is less than that. Okay. Similarly, if the next 15 minutes the candle becomes green, which means those 15 minutes definitely have shown positive price movement as compared to the previous. So that's why the red and green concept exists. Now we will discuss about some of the technical indicators and some of the technicals which you can very easily use in your account. And these are by the name of support, resistance, moving averages, RSIs, and determining trend lines. Three or four, two or three of them are really very basic, and it kind of serves everything what you need to understand. But before that, let's understand the time frames also, which you can check. Like for example, when you're looking at this chart, I asked you 15 minutes, right? This 15 minutes, if you see, I can change it to 1 second also, which means now if you see how it, see what is the difference now, guys? What is happening? See what is happening. Every 1 second, every, because I have selected 1 second on the left side, every 1 second the candle is changing. Every 1 second the candle is changing, right? What does it, see how thin it is? You cannot even see, but even those candles have openings and closing every second, highest and lowest every second, right? If there is a significant movement, you will see, but right now every second how it is going. Similarly, if I change the duration from 1 second to 5 seconds, now look at this. Every 5 seconds, this will change. Every 5 seconds, this will change. One, two, three, four, five. You see, there is a high and low, lower thread, higher thread, opening and closing. So, if, for example, this candle, if it is green because the closing is on the higher side, again, look at this candle. The closing is on the higher side. Now, this particular candle, the closing again on further higher side. So, it is becoming green every 5 seconds. Now, these 5 seconds, the closing is on the lower side. Now, the question, good question, which just came across now, what is the good duration to keep, minute or day? If you are a daily trader, remember this, write it down. If you are a daily trader, it depends on how frequently you are trading for the day, right? So basically, I have seen a lot of day traders keeping 30 minutes. 30 minutes is one of the ideal duration for the day traders. When you are doing swing trading also, because see, you also have to understand if you're doing, if you're a swing trader, for example, because swing trading has a lot of time periods, and this is again something, it depends on what kind of a chart you're looking at, because swing trading, it involves holding a position, whether you are long or short, but you hold a position for more than one trading session, right? But then when I say more than one trading session, it does not involves several weeks or months. Okay, so it normally there is a general time frame. Some trades may last longer than again couple of months, but then uh, when we are looking at swing trades, we are talking about few trading sessions. Okay, when we are looking at a swing trader, he is normally using a chart which can be at best 30 minutes to 1 hour. Okay, what does swing trading means? Swing trading means when you are taking a position for, when like you entered into a trade maybe right now and held it for 2 3 hours, trading sessions for a different session. Okay, not for several weeks or months. There are some long term investors which hold on swinging trades for a longer period of time, but the ideal duration for a swing trader is trading on a 1 hour chart. So you look at the hour on hour candle. Okay, please remember this, understand this. You're mostly, you'll be looking at an hour. If you're a day trader, then definitely hourly. Sorry, if you're a swing trader, then hourly. But if you're a day trader, now day trader means again, so let's understand the classifications. If you're a swing trader, you're holding a positions, let's take at least 3 days or 4 days. Okay, you, not for a month, but at least 3 4 days you are holding this position. So you should be looking at a 1 hour chart, this 1 hour chart, right here, 1 hour chart. But if you are a day trader, which means you don't want to take a position ahead, you're a day trader, then this duration changes. Then you are looking at a duration of 10 minutes, right? Because you're a day trader. You'll be trading more often. You're just looking at 10 minutes. You're not looking at hours and hours, right? So it depends on your trading style. It depends on your trading strategy also. Uh, if you are a medium term investor, then you will be holding these trades for weeks or months. Then you should be looking at what duration? Then you should be looking at a duration which is at least 1 day, which means each candle now represents a day. Look at this. This is today, this was yesterday, this was Monday, this was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, right? Every candle represents a day. But this is when you're taking a trade for few months. Okay. If you are a swing trader, which means if you want to take a trade for next 3 4 days, then you will look at an hourly chart. If you want to close your position uh, today itself, daily basis, you're looking at 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, these kind of durations. So a time duration is something which is really important, guys, because if you're taking a month, 6 months or 5 months position for months or for a couple of weeks, you're not going to look at a 15 minutes duration, right? You're going to go and check 4 hours or 1 day candle. You want to see the longer movement of the gold prices, right? So this is something which you should note it down. You should always remember. uh, what is called to person who hold trade for 1 week to 1 month by doing averaging if price go against your position. uh, I'm I'm joking about this, but then I would call it I would call that trader as a delusional investor. And I'll tell you reason why, because you mentioned over here, uh, person who is holding trade for a week to month by doing averaging if price go against your position. Averaging is not bad, okay? Averaging is not bad, but because you mentioned that you average because price goes against your position, that means that you entered into this trade with the sole motive of closing it when it comes to profit. But when it started becoming a loss, it became a long term trade. So it was not your trading plan to be a long term trader, right? But because the prices went against you, instead of booking your loss, you started adding to your losing position. That is something which you should not do. Okay. If you do that, you do become a long term investor. But then a lot of people say, it is a very popular saying that a long term trade is a short term trade gone wrong. That is what we call a long term trade. So please understand, if you want to be a long term investor, make your mind, no problem. But then your entry levels are also should be in a way. I'll give you one example. I'll give you a very good example. Look at and I'll take a stock for this reason, because normally people do that in stock. Uh, okay, let me just give me 1 second. Let me open a live account so I have access to everything. Okay, perfect. Just going to switch to this particular tab right here. Okay, right. Now look at this. I'm going to take a stock, Microsoft, for example. Let's take Microsoft and understand. I'm going to show you the chart. The answer to your question, if you even want to average it as a long term investor, please do a dollar cost averaging. Like, for example, if you were to invest $100,000 in Microsoft, then don't, and if you want to do it for a longer period of time, then don't put 100,000 right away at the first price you see. Understand what you see right now. Let me increase the size of the text. Okay. Now Microsoft has a good buying level over here. a good buying level over here, and perhaps a good buying level already seen somewhat over here, right? Find out three important points where you see that entry level will be good. This is where your support and resistance comes in. Now, this is the one technical study which I want to tell you. Just be with me for the next 15 minutes and you will realize that why it is really important. Look at this. This is a Microsoft chart. Okay. I will remove all my drawings. Support and resistance means support levels are the levels from where price touches maximum times and has bounced back. Look at this. Look at this. Right? Again, there can be multiple supports, but see what I'm trying to show you here. Look at this. Support line is a line where prices have touched maximum times and bounced back. If I zoom in this, look at this. How many times the price almost touched 229 in Microsoft and went up? One. And by the way, you're looking at a daily chart right now, which means every candle represents a day. So it's a very strong support. 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it could not break this. 6, 7, 8, and almost 9. Right? Look at this. $229. Now tell me, if price starts falling, okay, let's say something happens and Microsoft price, it starts falling down. From here, sorry, right from here, the price starts falling. Right here. And if it reaches over here, wouldn't this be a better buying level than you entering into levels like here, or randomly entering into, let's say, levels like, look at this, like here. You can enter here and here, but the point is a good buying level is right here. These are your buying levels because it touched here maximum time and bounced back. Similarly, when I zoom this out, this was support 1, and when this got broken, which is the next support? Which is the next support, guys? Right here. Look at this. It touches here, bounces back. Again, touches here, bounces back. Very close here and bounces back. This is the next support. So if it breaks this support, your next buying should be here. If it breaks this support, then your next buying should be here. This is how you do averaging. This is called support line. What is the support line in a chart? When you're looking at a chart, whichever duration it is, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 40 minutes, one day, 4 hours, anything. Look which chart shows you the maximum number of times when the price has come down and bounced back. Why it is called a support line? Price came, bounced back, came, bounced back, came, bounced back, came, bounced back. So what was the assumption of technical analysis? History repeats itself, right? History repeats itself, which means when the next time when the price comes down to 229, there will be massive buying. So you enter at that particular price. This can be wrong, and that's why you put a stop loss, right? But that's what I said. It's a technical analysis. It has its assumptions, but you can see for yourself that how by studying the historical price movement, how by looking at the historical price movement, you saw prices, you can predict what is going to be the future prices. So it's a very normal thing, guys. I mean, today, if I ask any one of you that, let's say, a relative from India or a relative from your home country is coming to Dubai for visit, and that relative asked you or that friend asked you that, hey, what is a great month to come to Dubai? Your answer would be December, January, depending on the weather, right? Because normally April and May is very hot. So you will say December, Jan, Feb. But how do you know December, Jan, Feb is always cold and pleasant? Because you have lived here, you have understood, historically, you have seen that December, Jan, Feb are good months. But imagine there's a massive heat wave and the December, Jan, Feb turn out to be equally hot just like April. Whose mistake it is? It's not your mistake because you did not understood that there will be a heat wave. You went on with the historical movement, right? Similarly, how technical analysis works. Support is nothing else but your understanding of the historical price data that it has come here, it will bounce back. If it breaks the support, then it will hit your stop loss. But then imagine that rather than buying Microsoft now, if you wait when it starts falling, sorry, rather than buying Microsoft at any level if you're not sure, and if it starts falling down, so in the mid of the fall, where would you buy? Today, if the stock price is $258 per share, if it starts falling from 258, it goes to 250. Will you buy? If it goes to 240, will you buy? Should you buy? You never know. But you know when you should buy. You should buy definitely at 229 because it shows an excellent support level. That is what technical analysis is. Now, just like support, there is something called resistance. How resistance works? You're actually getting it right. Like what support means and what resistance means. Look at this. Now, this was your support level, right? This shows you where to buy. But also, not every time you will be buying. There will be times when you will sell, short sell also. Now, how you short sell? By looking at which are the levels from where price normally drops. I'm going to take same example, okay? Look at this. Look at this. How many times the price hits here? See, how many times price comes here? 1, 2. See, how many times it touches here? It's not able to cross. See, it's not able to cross. Again, was not able to cross. And this was between July till December till 2021, right? Look at this. It was not able to cross. Every single day, it tried to break this resistance over here. And when it broke, look what happened when it broke the resistance. It flew. It literally flew. After following resistance for so long between August till January, it just flew. And now, when it comes down, same 229 level, which is acting a good support right now, was a resistance before. So, this is one of the most strongest areas you can see. You buy at 229 because it is difficult to break, because before it became a support, it was a resistance when prices were trying to go up, right? So, just like this, the financial consultants, they also help you. Now, see, this is something which is, when you look at it, it's very easy to understand. You can look at any chart and try to understand it. What happens is your judgment gets clouded because investors, they become uh, loss averse. Loss averse is a behavioral issue which happens with a lot of investors, that before taking a trade, you think too much. But if you're following a technical analysis, that emotion quotient is controlled. It's never detached because you cannot detach human emotions, but that emotional quotient gets controlled and gives you a rationality that why you are buying what you're doing. So these are your support and resistances which you should always check. Also, there is something called a trend line. You should always be careful that you are on the right side of the trend. Like for example, if you see, I told you price always moves in trends, which was the second assumption, right? Look at this. Sorry, not this. If I have to understand the trend, all I have to do is connect all the lower points right here. Look at this. Every low on the higher side, Every new low is on the higher side. Every new low is on the higher side. Look at this also. From here, see, every new low is on the higher side. Shows that the Microsoft has been going through an uptrend since August, right? This is your uptrend. So if you go for a short sell, it's not the right thing to do, because the trend for Microsoft has been long term has been going on the higher side. I'm looking at, again, guys, last 1 year daily. Same thing if I have to do on a 30 minutes chart, see, everything changes. Everything changes, because 30 minutes duration is different, right? Now in 30 minutes duration, if I have to take a trade, my support is very simple, right here. This is my support line, right? If it breaks, then my second support line, right here, right? If it breaks, then this is my support line right here. See, 247, 252, 258, because now things are short term, right? You're looking at short term support and resistance levels, because this is 30 minutes. If I have to take a trade for today, then I won't be looking at an yearly chart. I'll be looking at 30 minutes or max to max 1 hour, for example. Now look at 1 hour. This is excellent level to buy, right? And look at how resistance forms. This was in resistance right here. See, touches, comes down, touches, comes down, touches, comes down. But when it breaks it, it goes higher. So 239 will be a good level also to enter when you're looking at a trade which you want to hold for 2 or 3 days, not more than that. So these kind of things can actually help you out in understanding this. Now the question: Does Century, how does Century Financial engage with its customers? Do you take in small investments to gradually create portfolio for customers? See, we do not handle accounts. We are not managing portfolios for clients. What we do is we are a market consultant, and when you start trading, like what I showed you, entry and exit points, support and resistance levels, this is something which you can discuss along with the consultant, that what do you think about this level? Is it good time to enter? Is it good point to enter? And they will see a couple of technicals and tell you, okay, this is a better level to enter. They will even suggest you always to put a stop loss, because if what they say doesn't go right, then your portfolio should not bear the brunt of it. Whether the amount is big or small, you have to decide for yourself, because now you have understood that this platform, if you put $10,000, it will allow you to buy stuff worth 50,000 also, 100,000 also. But then the risk also increases. So amount bigger or smaller, you decide. Research and consultancy is something which will be able to provide you irrespective. So that is something, there is a benchmark, because I have limited resources. My consultants are limited. So we kept a benchmark for $10,000 to get consultant. If you don't need a consultant, you want to do yourself, then it's up to you. Then it can be any amount. But for the right kind of resources to acquire, there is a certain benchmark which is kept. But that being said, there is always a certain amount of support and trainings which we are providing. That is something which is needed. Somebody asked me a question when this session started, that I just said that I'm not charging for these sessions, then what's in it for me? uh, See, sometimes it's a different way. I'm a person who, and it will be wrong to compare that I'm a teacher or something, but I have been on all sides of the markets. I have been a business development manager. I have been handling portfolios also. I have handled my fair share of portfolios. I have been a trader. I have been a researcher. I have been a strategist. I have been a trainer. And above all, what I understood was, investors, when they lose money, they lose not because you know of course the decision they took could be right or wrong, but they lose because they're not aware about managing and handling the risk handling and risk management is the problem. So we keep doing these sessions free of cost, just to keep you more and more aware about that markets will always have risk, but how you can stress and focus on reducing your risk, rather than stressing on the point that how to make profit. Never think about making profit, always think about minimizing your loss and accepting your loss. If you stick on to your trade for too long while it is going in a loss, it's like cancer. It keeps growing in your portfolio, and it eradicates your portfolio because prices are not going higher anytime soon. So it takes all the resources from your portfolio. Uh, Okay, now see, this is something which are the technicals. These are very basic technicals. Again, we can go much deeper and deeper in one-on-one sessions. One question is there before we end this session. What is the difference between retail and professional client? Uh, so regulators, FCA, ASIC, and other regulators, they differentiate between a retail and a professional client on the basis of the number of trades they do. In last 1 year, if you have done 40 trades, or the total trading size is around $500,000, including leverage. Like, for example, if you bought 100 ounces of gold, even using leverage, you already bought $200,000 worth stuff. So if you have done 2 or 3 trades like that, it is already 500,000 notional value. So if you have done this trade somewhere, then you show that statement. That is one. Second thing is, there are few criterias. You have to pass a knowledge test, which is very easy, 8 to 10 questions. Once you pass that test, and once you show the number of trades, your trading history, that you have done 30 to 40 trades in a year and this much value, uh, after a careful analysis, they can upgrade you to the professional client and you will get more leverage. But please understand, a professional client gets more leverage because it is deemed that he understands the risk. Retail clients get less leverage because they are being understood that they don't trade much, so they don't know much. Okay, if you're a retail client and you know about your risk, try to upgrade yourself into professional, get more leverage. But please, getting more leverage does not mean that you go crazy on your trading account. So again, consultants will be there to guide you over this. Your idea should be, again, guys, what I showed you today: candlesticks, time frames, charts, supports, resistances. This is something which is, it's available on Google. You search support and resistance, you will get so many search results. My job is just to make you aware that these things exist, and as a careful investor, you can always take these things into consideration also. Just don't buy when you listen to others. Don't follow what others do. Be more independent, more empowered, and we will help you out in understanding this thing. So before we go, I promised that I'll tell you about one more thing, which was the impact of uh, Netflix right here. Yeah. See, the Netflix earnings came yesterday, and I told you what to see in the earnings yesterday. I've just opened this article on Markets Watch. You can see this here. Netflix predicts worst quarter for streaming growth in its history. Stock falls 9%. Netflix added 4 million new subscribers in the first quarter, 2 million fewer than it expected, and forecast just 1 million additions in the current quarter, which would be lowest total yet. Right? Now, look at this. Netflix has come back down after this gains during the opening months of the pandemic. Streaming giant reported 3.98 million net new paid subscribers. Guys, this is something which you have to understand, that the addition of record 15 million paid subscribers, this was, what did I tell you yesterday, that the performance is measured same quarter year before and with the previous quarter. Now look at this. In the same quarter a year ago, Netflix reported the addition of record 15 million paid subscribers, right? Right now, this is down from 8.5 million in the previous quarter and well below the 6 million of the company predicted 3 months ago. So their number of subscribers, the paid subscribers, have reduced. And that's why we have seen, look at this, we have seen the stock prices coming down right here. And they have already announced, look at the future outlook, predicts worst quarter for streaming growth in its history. And the stock has come down by $50. How do you know that? Look at Netflix stock. Okay, when you search for Netflix stock on Google, you will see there is something called pre-market. Yesterday night, it was $550. Before now, at in next 10 minutes when market opens, it will open at 506, which means it is down by $42 right now. if you had bought Netflix yesterday, right now you'll be losing almost $50 per share, right? But Netflix has a history of showing this on the upside also. So had you bought Netflix a quarter like previous year, same quarter, you would have seen $50-$60 increase in one day. So that's why I was telling you the other day that earnings are the best way to trade into these stocks. Okay. So whenever you are trading in stocks, please pick your earnings month and we'll definitely tell you how to do it. Now, tomorrow, guys, tomorrow, what we are going to do is the most important thing. We discuss about the pros and cons and what can be goods and the bads. Please, tomorrow when we are going to meet, tomorrow, first of all, I think most of you have left, but we will start 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow we start the session 5:30, not 4 to 5, 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. I'll make sure that every relationship manager calls everyone. Uh, Please remember this. Okay, there was still a question I have to answer. Do you suggest short selling Netflix today? Uh, and why renewable energy basket is falling as no news in the market? Okay, let's take both the questions. First, short selling Netflix today. See, when a stock has fallen down, something like Netflix, which is already down 10%, then don't go for a short sell when the market opens, because that $50 dip could be a potential opportunity where right now the trend for markets are on the upside. Okay. So when markets open, don't be quick to short sell because it is already opening 10% down. So 10% dip after the earnings, which means markets have priced that decline. You short selling the stock might be going on the wrong side because now the buyers will enter. So if anything, looking at the history of the stock, if you have a demo account, buy Netflix in a demo account. Please, if you have live accounts, I'm not giving you a stock recommendation. I'm telling you, if you have demo accounts, go for a buy and see what it does to your portfolio in the next 2-3 days. Because sometimes when these kind of declines in these kind of stocks actually represents a good buying opportunity because it's already down by $50. So a lot of people will enter at psychological levels of 500 or 499, right? So try to do that. Renewable energy basket is falling as no news in the market. Okay, let's see renewable energy basket uh, if there is any technical to it. Okay, I think today it has started going slightly up, but if you see the chart, it is actually a decent support to enter. Again, I'm not giving you an advice for the live account, but I'm telling you that this is something which you can check. See, technically, and I'm looking at a long-term chart right now, so it's a decent support to enter, and profit booking should be at the resistance at 11,782. But look at this. This is a long-term chart. If I see an hourly candle, okay, now see hourly right here. These could be good entry areas. Look, these support levels right here. Okay, these could be good entry areas. So it has come down, it has retraced back to different levels, but then it could be due to anything. Maybe it was a resistance and it came down. So this is again, when you're looking at technicals, you can always see that why uh, how you can enter and how it can create a buying opportunity also. Now, guys, also one more thing. As I said, tomorrow, please let's connect at 5:30 tomorrow. While markets open, we'll discuss a lot of strategies. And tomorrow we are also going to discuss about pair trading. We are going to discuss about price action analysis. We are going to discuss about long-term portfolios. Now, 2021 stock started going higher, but the growth in renewable energy was not seen this much. So that is also one of the reason that why the stocks have come down. Oil and gas in 2020 was down, but oil and gas prices in 2021 has increased. So that is something, again, it reduces the case for renewable energy. If you see the competition in 2020, a lot of disinvestment happens. Like people moved from fossil fuels to renewables. But now, again, the competition in renewables is very strong, so profit margins they become lower, and that is also one reason that why we see renewables coming down. Again, valuation, investor optimism, there are a lot of reasons that why it could come down, but then these are the few which is on the top of my head. So this is something which we can discuss about later on. For now, let's meet tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. and trade live and use some strategies. If you like this session, please do send Google reviews. Search Century Financial on Google, and please review us on Google if you like these sessions. My name is Yogesh, and before I leave, on behalf of Century Financial, my team, my family, and myself, a big vote of thanks to everyone who is into the healthcare industry and all the healthcare professionals. If you have friends, family, uh, let's hope that we can get through this pandemic. And for those people who have been risking out their lives for us, a big vote of thanks. I do this every day because a lot of new people join, and I want to make sure that a big vote of thanks goes from my end, from my companies, and from my family's end, personally, professionally, to anyone and everyone who is part of healthcare industry and risking out their lives for us. So we'll meet tomorrow. Last day, please come 5:30 p.m. and we'll discuss a lot of strategies and portfolios. My name is Yogesh. You have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.